Hey YouTube, if you'd asked me last week what's the one synth you want ported over to the iPad, I would have said without a doubt Ableton Live's Operator for its very elegant FM synthesis engine. And the guys over at VirSyn would have said no, you want Ableton Live's Operator for its very elegant additive synthesis engine. And I'd have been like, no, I'm pretty sure I want some FM synthesis going on my iPad. And they'd have said, keinen einen Schweinhund, and give me a review copy of Addictive Synth to prove me wrong.
So one of the first things you're going to discover when you launch Addictive Synth is that it lives up to its name. I actually ran down my iPad's battery yesterday, and that's the first time that's ever happened in a typical day's usage. There is just so much to this and lots to explore. As you see here, we're looking at a waveform editor that is presenting us with a whole bunch of partials. You get two of those that you can morph between, and there are also filter curves for these different waveforms. Additive synthesis is based on the principle that you add partials to a wave. And if you just asked, what the fuck is this shit? The answer is that you get to draw waves. And you can morph between these two different waves that you're assigning. And as you're also hearing here, there's an arpeggiator built in that's actually got a lot of functionality. You get to assign how you want the notes to behave. Do you want them to go up? You got ties and accents, and you can set how many bars you want the arpeggiator to run across, and you can start glitching that out. And it's got a really helpful trigger mode here for hold. So now it's just going to keep cycling through that while I switch over here and start getting into some of the fiddly bits. And as you see, there's a lot of routing options for different modulations, and everything can be assigned a additional modulation source. And then there's also LFOs that you can route into everything. So let's add a whole bunch of a sine LFO here into our morph function. And you see we've also got envelopes for the cutoff, morph, pitch, and the level, which basically acts as a amp envelope. You'll notice we've also got a keyboard setting here for changing the voicing from poly to mono, and legato setting. All of these source things can be set to all kinds of great stuff. Being able to set the modulation source provides for a lot of dynamics here. So if we set the cutoff to be modulated by the x-axis, and set the morph to be controlled by the y-axis, we're now switching between two different waveforms and switching the cutoff frequency using LFOs to drive the changes. So you can further fine-tune that. And you get all kinds of crazy out of this thing. The keyboard on this is very similar to their iSyn Poly, where you can double tap to get a nice big keyboard for fat fingers. And that reminds me of a major design flaw I encountered while screwing around with this yesterday. When you're jamming really hard on this, you can accidentally hit the arrow key here and totally lose your patch. So if you didn't save that, that's the default. It lost everything that I've changed here, you see. Yeah, I spent like a good long while, just crying in a corner after I lost the patch that I had been working on for an hour. That is a really unfortunate spot for the preset buttons to be, and I hope that they will change that in 1.1. My only other issue is with the MIDI routing, as you're not able to assign any MIDI CC messages to any of the knobs that you see here. It does accept mod wheel though, and that's really my only complaint about this. This is an awesome synth. If you're not comfortable at all with getting into additive and you just want to have something to play with right now, it comes with all your basic waves right here, so you can set a square over here and triangle over here, and you're already jamming. And it's got a lot of great built-in effects. You get the delays, the modulations, and a high and low shelf equalizer. And these modulations are the phasers. A flanger, and chorus. As well as a drive up here. And a width. And although the knobs are kind of small, I tend to hit them for the most part. Next to the cutoff, we have a balance, and I talked to VirSyn about this, and they said that it is a second filter that is taking the sum of the cutoff and this balance knob and making an entirely different filter. I'm not entirely clear on exactly how that's working, but the filter curves here seem to be a harmonic-based resonance, so you get just really, really wild stuff with this. And so far I've just been playing with one oscillator. There's a whole lot of different oscillator options, including 6 in unison with a detune. And then there's various octave ratios here. So that's doing 6 oscillators, each on their own octave. With all of these voicing and modulation controls, this is an amazing synth. This actually blows away a lot of computer VST instruments. There's just so many options and different ways of tweaking it and playing with it. I wanted to get this review up ASAP so you can get in on its introductory price, which is like $6 or $7, and that is an amazing deal for what you're getting here. I fully recommend this for everybody who has any amount of interest in synthesis, because beginners can start off just playing with the presets, and there are lots of them. And these actually sound pretty good. I've been playing with these a bit here, and lots of space for user ones. That reminds me, I should point out that if you're going to add your own presets, you need to either start off with an initialized one, or take what you've been working on, like let's start off with this one, and change things. Now you can, you want to copy this before you touch anything else, or else you're going to lose this. and then select one of the empty spots and paste to that. Additionally, you may have noticed that in every screen you've got a randomizer option, and it will randomize everything on that screen. So look here at this wave, and notice that it's changing everything. But not the knobs. You can get some pretty funky results doing this inside of the Arpeggiator. VirSyn claims that this is an intelligent randomizer, so I assume it's making some judgment calls on what's supposed to sound good and hoping for the best. It also has audio pasteboard out, so you can record anything you want. It'll save the audio and a MIDI file, and you can pasteboard that into any of the other sequencers or programs available on the iOS. This is a really thoughtful inclusion here, and you can set how many bars you want recorded. I'm not sure what the final retail price is going to be on this, but it's probably going to be worth it. This is a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it, like I said, for everybody. Was I recording? Yes!